Inspiring interviews with today's top landlords. This is the Rental Income Podcast. And now, Dan Lane.
David, you think that investing in rental properties was probably the best decision you ever made?
Absolutely. So, as you know, Dan, I'm very biased. I think real estate is the greatest business you can be in, and obviously, you know, the first deal is the hardest. And I tell a lot of my friends who are trying to get that first deal, I say, the first deal is the hardest. If you know how to do one deal, you can do tons of deals. So the encouragement is to just jump in. You know, there's a lot of podcasts you can listen to. You can read Rich Dad, Poor Dad. You can read 10 different books that will give you incredible advice, but nothing compares to just jumping in, doing that first deal. And, you know, you got to make sure the numbers work, but that first deal, it shouldn't be too risky. And that first deal can lead to so many other deals, and it can change your life. And despite the market conditions, there's never going to be the perfect situation or the perfect deal to buy. Every deal I've done, I could have thought of 100 reasons not to do the deal, but I'm so thankful. Looking back, I'm so thankful that I did every deal I did.
And on the podcast today, we're going to talk about the deals that David has done. We'll take a look at how he built his portfolio. We'll talk about how he has a team that helps him manage his properties. He'll give us some advice on finding a mentor, and we'll talk about how he bought his first property when he was just 16 years old. Joining us on the show today from Indianapolis is David Muselman. We'll take a really quick break to thank our sponsors. We'll come right back and we'll talk to David. If you're looking for a quick and easy way to finance a rental property, reach out to Chaley Ridge from Ridge Lending Group. She has a loan program where she only cares about your deal. She doesn't need to see your pay stubs, your bank statements, or your tax returns. The only thing she's going to look at is the deal. She wants to know, does the property cash flow? If it does, she'll give you a 30-year fixed-rate mortgage. Now, the rates are going to be a little bit higher than a full doc loan, but it's still a great deal. She can close quickly, and there's no hassle. If you want to learn more, reach out to Chaley personally at ridgelendinggroup.com. That's RIDGE lendinggroup.com, NMLS 42056.
Rental Income Podcast.
David, why don't we start things off talking about your portfolio? Can you describe your portfolio to me?
So my portfolio consists of approximately 150 C-class multifamily apartment units throughout Indiana. The portfolio is all C-class rural Indiana apartments. And it ranges from a 4-unit property to a 49-unit property throughout the state.
Is there a certain bathroom and bedroom combination that you like, or do you have lots of different types of setups?
Yeah, we have lots of different types of setups. Majority of the portfolio would probably be 2 bedrooms, 1 bathroom. I really like that setup, but we also provide 3 bedrooms, 1 bedrooms, and anything in between.
Does one of them rent faster? Like, do you find that the 2 bedrooms are really hot, or the 3 bedrooms, or do they all rent pretty well?
Yeah, absolutely. You know, families love the 3 bedrooms, but the 2 bedrooms are my favorite because you can rent them to a small family, or you can rent them to a single guy who wants an extra room, you know?
Are you self-managing your rentals?
We are. We do everything in-house. I've thought about hiring in a third-party management back in the day, but I'm a firm believer to do everything in-house. And I believe we can do it more efficiently than third-party management.
Do you have someone helping you? Like when you say
I do. We have a team. Yeah, we have a team. We've got a team up in Bern, Indiana that manages the Bern and Decatur properties. We've got a team in Rochester, Indiana, and then we've got a team in Kokomo, Indiana as well.
Okay, so are you out there, like if something breaks, do you go out there and fix it yourself, or would you have someone that would do that?
So in the beginning, it was really just me and some maintenance guys I found on Facebook Marketplace or Craigslist that became valuable to the company right away. But right now we have management and maintenance in place at every property. So I don't do much of the management or the maintenance. I manage probably about a third of the portfolio myself, and then we've got management in place for the others. But we have a maintenance team at each location that are rock stars, and they get the job done on a daily basis.
It sounds like today that you have a well-oiled machine. You've got people in place to help you out. You've got systems, but I assume it wasn't always like this. Take me back to when you were first getting started.
Yes, sir. So I started out with a 4-unit property in Bern, Indiana. Great property. Valentine's Day was the actual day that I saw the property. We made an offer shortly after that. And I really did not know what I was doing. I had a couple mentors in my life that did it as well, but I really just said yes and figured it out later, And I'm not perfect, and there's a lot of growth to be had still. And I'm a lifelong learner. I say I like to learn something new every day. But that was an awesome start. So I bought 4 units, and then I bought 6 units about a year later from the same guy. It was a total God thing. And then a lady knew that I was involved in the real estate game. And so she texted me and she said, "Hey, I've got a duplex for sale. And I was wondering if you wanted to buy it." I said, "Not at that price, but let's negotiate." So we negotiated that. So I added 2 more to the portfolio. And then later on, I bought a 12 unit and an 18 unit. One of them was on market. It was the only on market deal I've ever done. I'm a firm believer in off market deals. 7 of the 8 deals that DJM has done have been off market because I just believe there's more value there and there's more opportunity for growth. And so we bought an 18 unit, and then we bought an 11 unit near the college town that I went to college in. And then we had an opportunity to buy a 42 unit. And that was the big differentiator. I had never bought anything above 20 units. I bought a 42 unit through some seller financing with an awesome seller that gave me an opportunity to excel. And then last November, not this past November, November 2021, we bought a 49 unit property in Kokomo, Indiana.
Wow. Okay. So really, like a lot of because like when you say 150 units, like that sounds like a huge number, but really it was your last 2 deals that really got you up to such a huge number.
Absolutely. Yeah. And a lot of people say, "Wow, you have a lot of units," but I feel blessed to be able to do what I'm doing. And I think it's not how you start, it's how you finish. So I'm constantly on the phone looking for more deals, constantly cold calling, constantly knocking on doors. Every day I'm trying to find more deals.
So you said that you've found a lot of deals off market. Is there any secret to finding off market deals?
That's a great question, Dan. And I don't know if there is a secret. I think it's just you work hard and you gotta be willing to do things that other people won't. And so in reality, I'm not going to be able to compete with the big dogs and the guys who own 15,000, 20,000 apartments all throughout the country. But I can compete with the people in smaller towns and even bigger towns that, I can make that first cold call to them. I can knock on their door. I can sneak through their fence to try to buy some land. I can do things that other people are not willing to do to put me in a position to be able to find that next deal. And I'm willing to do it. I'm young, I'm hungry, and I'm willing to do the things other people won't,
So when you come across the perfect deal, is that property something that's already occupied and it's going to generate rent for you on day one? Or are you looking for properties that are maybe have a high vacancy rate and you're going to go in there and rehab it and turn it around?
Great question. So I like to say that, we do a lot of value add, but we never bought a property that was under 90% occupancy. So a lot of guys buy properties, they call it value add. They buy it at, 50% occupancy. They redo all the units right away. Well, starting out, we don't have the capital to just go in instantly and change over all the units. So what we've done is we bought properties that, are a little tired and they're a little outdated. And when somebody moves out, we put new floors in, new hardwood floors. We put new appliances if need be. We paint the whole thing, and then we raise the rent when somebody else new moves in.
Okay, so when you buy the property, that property is producing rent for you, so that you're not having to come out of pocket with trying to make the mortgage payments on your own, and then you slowly do the rehab as people turn over.
Absolutely. So we use a lot of our cash flow and we reinvest it in the business to make our properties better and nicer and a more desirable place to live.
Yeah, that's really I think a really smart way to do it, because it's not like you're having to come up with a huge amount of capital to rehab the units. Like, you just kind of slowly do it over time, and then you're also then raising your rent. So generally, like, maybe can you give us an example of how you've been able to raise rent by fixing a property up?
Yeah, absolutely. So a deal we bought in Rochester, Indiana, it was a great deal, 42 units. It was a little rough when we bought it. And I think a lot of people would say, wow, like, why would you ever buy this piece of real estate? You know, there's some siding falling off, like the carpet has stains everywhere. But we like to do three things very well. And so they're my dad's initials. My dad's, my hero and my mentor, and his name's Roger Carl Muselman. So we came up with these three things that align with his initials, RCM. So number one, we rent units. If you're not renting out units, you're not making money. Next is the C, we collect the rent. If you're not collecting the rent, you don't make money. The M is maintain the unit. So we maintain the units very, very well, and that has to do with your question. So if somebody moves out, we put hardwood floors in, new paint, new appliances, we fix everything, maybe a new dishwasher, new shower, and we convert the rents from, $600 a month to $800, $900 a month just on that one flip, which creates a lot of value.
Yeah.
And then last but not least, we treat residents really, really well, and we really prioritize that. We act like we're in the hospitality business, because we really are. And some of my favorite times have been resident appreciation nights and pizza parties and bowling alley parties and praying for the residents. It's just a fun opportunity to show some love to these people.
So did you grow up around rentals? Like, what was your dad in the business?
Absolutely. Yeah. So my dad's involved in a family business. It's a great business, but he did a lot of real estate on the side. He did some self-storage units. He owned some apartments. He actually built some apartments with his cousin and his sister. And so it's been in my blood for a long time. And my brother and I grew up going to these sites and seeing, these projects. And that's really what fired me up is, you can do it, you can develop. I think we're called and, born to be creators and developers and builders, and even value adds in a way is creating and building something. So it has been in my blood for a while. My dad and brother are involved as well. And then, I love reading Rich Dad, Poor Dad. That really fired me up, along with tons of different podcasts and books as well.
Yeah. I mean, it's great having a mentor like that in the family, to kind of help you and get you going. But, maybe for someone that doesn't come from a real estate family, but like is looking for a mentor to help them and to help them, get to wherever it is that they want to go. How do you recommend that somebody could find a mentor?
That's a great question. I think mentors are very, extremely valuable. And yes, it was awesome that my brother and dad are some of my greatest mentors, but I think it's also important to just stay in motion and shoot your shot, whether that's, showing up at a networking event or making that cold call or making that cold email. I think especially when you're younger, and even if you're older, people really desire to help other people.
Yep.
And whether that's, giving you advice or, looking at a pro forma with you or helping you find a deal, people really like helping people. And I think there's a lot of opportunities to just be there. A lot of people say showing up is 90% of the battle.
Yep.
So if you show up to an event or you send that email, they might reject you, or they might say no, but your life is no different if they say no. So I say go for it and see what happens and provide value to them. And it's, it's not just take, it's give and take and provide value, and people want to help each other. So just show up, make that call, send that email, do the things other people won't,
Yeah. So, all right. So growing up around rentals and like seeing your dad operate his rental properties, did you at an early age decide that this is something that you wanted to do?
Yeah, that's a great question. My mom actually did flips too. So my dad had some rentals. My mom did flips, and I loved real estate, but I didn't know much about it. And originally my first business venture was vending machines. I owned a couple of vending machines in the local hotel in Bern, Indiana. And I would go to Costco and Sam's Club and fill them up. And, it'd be, you double the price. You buy it for 50 cents, a candy bar, you sell it for $1. And then that opportunity came, and I didn't really know much about real estate, but that opportunity came and I said yes. And then ever since, it's just been a total God thing. And I'm extremely blessed I'm involved in the industry.
How old were you when you bought your first property?
I was 16 when I bought my first property.
Wow. 16. Wow.
I negotiated it when I was 15.
Wow. So how do you, at such a young age, being under 18, like how do you do that? Like how can you even get like a bank account at 15, 16?
Yeah. So being under 18, my mom had to do something with the bank account where like her name was on it. And it was funny when I turned 18, I had to kick her out of that bank account,
Right.
So I got some help along the way. I think there's no such thing as a self-made man. My parents helped me out, especially creating a bank account before I was 18,
Yeah. And then what about getting financing?
Yeah. So there was a variety of different strategies I used along the way in the start. But a lot of it was seller financing. So a lot of these deals I've done have been seller financing.
Wow. Okay. So I'm thinking like if somebody came to me, 15, 16-year-old kid and wanted to buy one of my rentals, like I might be up for seller financing for someone that was maybe a bit older and experienced. But like, how did you talk the seller that you were going to be able to pay them back when you're a 16-year-old kid?
So the market was different. And you really got to sell yourself, You really got to sell yourself and say, hey, I'm going to pay you back. I guarantee it. And let's make this happen together.
How about working with tenants at 16 years old? Like, did tenants, like, did they try to take advantage of you? Because they figured you were a young kid and didn't know what you were doing?
So I'm sure they tried. I don't really remember any stories of them taking advantage of me. It's always funny, I would show units and they'd laugh and they'd say, how old are you? I'd say, take a guess. They'd say 27. I say, no, you're close though. You're close. You're really close.
Wow. That's awesome. And so then that success at such a young age just gave you the motivation to keep going and keep building out your portfolio?
Absolutely. I desired to do this full time right after college for a long time. And going into college, I had 50 something doors, which is a great amount of doors, but that's not really viable to do full time. And so I was really blessed and thankful to be able to do those two big deals, that 42 unit and that 49 unit throughout college, to be able to do this full time post-grad.
Yeah. So that's really kind of then what put you over the edge, those last two properties.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Those allowed me to do it full time post grad. Yep.
I think David's story illustrates that if you want to invest in rental properties bad enough, you'll figure out a way to make it happen. It's really unbelievable that at 16 years old, he figured out how to do seller financing. I mean, what an incredible story. If anybody wants to reach out to David, I've got his contact information on the website. You can find it at rentalincomepodcast.com/episode 402. I'd like to thank today's sponsor for making this episode possible. It's Chaley Ridge from Ridge Lending Group. Chaley is a nationwide lender, and her specialty is helping investors finance rental properties. She has a ton of different loan programs, and she can find something customized to you for your situation. If you want to find out more, or you want to set up a time to talk to Chaley personally, just reach out to her at ridgelendinggroup.com. That's RIDGE lendinggroup.com, NMLS 42056. Thank you so much for checking out today's episode. Make sure you hit that follow button, and you'll be notified every single Tuesday when I put out a new episode. My name is Dan Lane, and this has been the Rental Income Podcast.